And, okay. And thank you everyone for being here. Up until about 6 years ago in my family, gardening was the source of some discord. That's because one of us was really into it and one of us couldn't understand why anybody was really into it. We had been given a lineage of very nice beds by our former landowner, the person we bought the house from. And she was zealously plotting to improve the plots even further. It got so we would be driving down the street, it seemed, and couldn't go more than a block where she'd say, well, what about that place over there? You see how they got the color in the thing? And I would, oh, honey, I don't care, really. Whatever you want, I'm for it. Please, I don't care. So against that backdrop, it may surprise you to learn that what I want to tell you about today is my 4 years in a cooperative community garden. My gardening career actually began 5 years ago when I built one raised bed to try square foot gardening. It wasn't so much to find a hobby as to try to live up to the principles that I said I held. I'd becoming increasingly concerned about industrial agriculture, a system that cannot survive without pesticides, fertilizers, and petrochemicals. That system is, I don't think we all can survive. And yet, I was still buying, in January, apples grown in Chile and flown up here because, hey, I like apples. But it didn't seem to fit with what I had to say. Now, last winter was the first one where I really decided to try to watch what I buy and to buy more in season. But we still buy bananas, which I think you'll agree are not often grown around here. And I still support my family's pounds per week grape habit because I'm in charge of the groceries, not their principals. My square foot gardening was what you could call my toe in the soil for eating in season instead of out of cellophane. You could say that my son, my unborn at that time son, Joseph, was my muse in this. I wanted him to know that food comes from the ground, not from a store. Now, the year after I tried this, some people in my town went to the town and asked for a plot of land in a park right around the corner from my house on which they were going to begin a cooperative community garden. Now, before I go on, I want to make clear the distinction between an allotment garden and a cooperative community garden. Both start out with a plot of land on which to grow food. But in an allotment garden, they then subdivide into subplots. And although you might make friends over the fence, you're in charge of your square of turf. In a cooperative garden, we not only garden together, but we plan the garden together, and we harvest together, we blog together, and we even eat together sometimes. I didn't know what to expect from this experience, but I want to tell you what I got. The first thing is expertise. That first year, there were about 12 of us, and I guarantee you that everybody else in the garden and the fence posts knew more about gardening than I did. I learned from these people not only facts about gardening, but the approaches and attitudes of a good gardener. An example I'll give you is that in our garden, when a plant vacates a piece of earth, either because it failed to thrive or because its growing season is over, we try to think, well, how much growing season do we have left? What else can we put in there to continue making it productive? In my square foot garden, when something died, I would thereafter note when I went to my garden, oh yeah, something died there. But that's as far as I would take it. Second thing I get is two senses of community. One of them is the one inside the fence. I am now friends and acquaintances with well more than a dozen people who I would not have met otherwise. Also, I feel more a part of my town. When I'm in the playground with my son, which is right across from where our garden is, and I see someone craning their neck over the fence, I can go over and offer to let them in. I have the combination. I'm part of the in crowd. So I feel more, I have more of a stake in the town as a result. The next thing I get is support. Unlike the garden soloist, I get to take a vacation in summer without worrying about what's going to happen to my rooting interests. I don't think I watered maybe once or twice all last summer, even though somebody was over there watering almost every day. That's because other people handled that. I did other things, and together we brought a bountiful harvest. Another thing I get is I get out of myself. When I'm working in concert with people over a period of months, I get to see myself in relationship to others. I get to see where I excel, and I get to see where I don't excel. And in the latter category, I get to see how the people who are doing it better than I am, how they're doing it, so that I might learn from them. Now, I know there's one more thing that I get out of this experience. Oh yeah, it's the food. Now, it's not free. We each pay $75 a year to join. $10 of that goes to the town recreation fund, but the rest of it comes back to us as needed for fences and hoses and seeds and stuff you need to bring a garden to life. But I found that when I'm able to make it consistently to the twice weekly harvestings that we have during the summer, I'm able to provide my family with all the vegetables we need for a good 4 months. So that's pretty good, $75 and the sweat equity. But as I said, if I was gardening at home, I would get the food, but that's it. Because not only is there a lot more expertise over at the community garden, there's also a lot more sunlight. Now, I still do garden at home. I'm up to 3 raised beds. I also have 2 composters and 2 rain barrels. I only had to turn on the spigot once all last year. I'm very happy about that. So my point is not that working together is the only selfish act. What I'm trying to highlight is that in a nation where we venerate the rugged individualist, where we all want our own chunk of land, our own mode of transport, that we are missing out. That when we work together in community, helping and accepting help, we're really getting a lot more than it might seem. I would suggest to you that it is the best kind of selfishness. And I'd like to invite you to look where in your life you might be able to take advantage of this. Thanks very much.